Welcome to AromaticChat, the podcast that introduces you to registered, clinical, and certified aromatherapists around the world. Every other week, my baby girl sits down with a different aromatherapist to learn about their aromatic journey and how they use aromatherapy in their lives and their businesses. AromaticChat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and my daughter Melissa is your host. She is a master transformational coach and a registered aromatherapist. Now, I'm probably just a wee bit prejudiced, but I have been greatly impressed by her ability to talk with someone about their condition or their mental condition or physical condition and come up with a essential oil blend that solves or eases that condition. I've been a diabetic all my life, and my lower legs have always been a problem of dry skin and itching and just driving you nuts sort of problem. And as soon as I explained to her what was going on, she made up a blend of different aromatic essential oils, and I've applied it to my legs, and lo and behold, the itching stopped, the dryness cleared up, and that's the first time in 60 some odd years.
Hey friends, welcome to podcast episode number 89, Aromatic Chat with Debrah Nadler. Debbie is a registered aromatherapist with 10 years of experience, and she is a lifelong learner. She specializes in working with individuals living with Alzheimer's or other dementias. She founded Trifecta Care, combining aromatherapy, the world-renowned music and memory program, and relaxation techniques to assist individuals living with Alzheimer's and those who care for them. With an estimated 6.7 million Americans living with Alzheimer's, I have a sneaking suspicion that just about everybody listening has someone they know struggling with this disease. My grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's, and I can't wait to hear about everything that Debbie is doing to serve this special population. So, let's get started.
Debrah, I am so glad you said yes to being on the Aromatic Chat podcast, because we've been in the same room so often, and I've loved hearing from you and hearing your perspective and just how grounded you are when you're talking about aromatherapy. So I'm just so glad to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent. Well, the first thing always, I love to just get your story. I love the stories. I'm not quite sure where this love of stories came from, but I love to hear all about the aromatic journeys of my guests. So like, how did you end up here with Alzheimer's care?
Well, it's been kind of a twisted trail. Growing up, my mom loved her flower gardens and her vegetable gardens, and my dad did tree work, so he would take me with him in the woods, and I learned all about the northern Vermont trees and other things that are growing around it. I just loved it, and I always carried that with me, that love of plants. And as time went on, I realized that there's so much more to plants than I ever dreamed. I mean, to me, some of them smell good, some of them didn't, that kind of thing. But it was probably 15 or more years ago, I started hearing about essential oils. And I thought, that's pretty cool, and I started kind of reading what I could online, and some of it really kind of set off my alarms. It's like, that doesn't sound right. I don't know anything about this, but some of this stuff just doesn't sound like something I want anything to do with. And that's when I decided I needed to find somewhere to learn what was really right and how I could truly use it to benefit. So, of course, started out as a CA, and then I got the RA and then the CCA. And as I was doing this, I was working with people. My mom developed Alzheimer's disease. This was a huge part of my life for a few years. Oh, it was rough. And I was the only one out of a blended family of 6 that was involved. And I didn't know anything about the disease. I just knew that it was not something that anyone should have to go through. I decided as I got more into aromatherapy, and my mom had passed by this time, that since I had known nothing, I wanted to find something that would help other people that went through or were going through what I had gone through. And of course, I had to use aromatherapy because it's, well, we all know the benefits of the oils and how much they can do for us. And so I knew that was like the number one thing. And then I found the Music and Memory Program, which is a worldwide science-based or researched way to deal with people living with Alzheimer's and other cognitive issues. So I contacted the company, organization, nonprofit, and I told them, I really want to incorporate this into my business. And he said, well, we only work with facilities. And I said, okay, but there's the people who don't have funds and they can get help from the government. Then the other side of the group are the people who have money or have long-term term insurance. I said, but then you've got the people in the middle who have nothing and they have to stay home, and it's a rough ride. So he said, well, he could hear that I was really passionate, I guess. And he called me back, I think it was the next day. And he said, we're going to let you into our program. That was like, yay, I was so excited. And so I went through the training and everything. And then I found a relaxation program, which I think is just starting to get some legs to it. It's called the Hearts Process. And it's a great relaxation stress reducer. It can help with pain as well. So I am now a Hearts Process practitioner, and I incorporate these three things into something I call trifecta care. So the three things together is very powerful. And for me, I think as an aromatherapist, first, I find that if you have a specialty, something that can make you stand out, and I mean, we can all help people as we want to because we learn how to do that. But specializing, you can get better in an area that most people don't find comfort. And that can be in many different places. So I think specializing with Alzheimer's and using my aromatherapy has been a real boon.
Yeah. Well, and you have that personal experience of watching your mom fade.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's more than just, hey, I'm here and I can help with Alzheimer's. I'm here, I understand.
Yes.
And I can help you with your loved one.
Yes.
That has Alzheimer's. That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
This, so you said, this is your specialty. This is your niche, working with Alzheimer's. Do you do anything outside of Alzheimer's, or is it really just
No, well, I mean, I was working with people, so I continue to work with them. And if someone needs something, absolutely, I'm not going to turn anybody away. But my specialty is working with Alzheimer's individuals.
How does it work to work with Debrah Nadler in the trifecta?
Actually, I can do it by going to their homes. And then, of course, there are people that will be in facilities, those that can pay or have benefits. I will work with them. It's on a one-to-one basis because this is very, very personalized, as is the aromatherapy, because as we know, one blend isn't going to be right for everybody. And I like to bring up lavender because everybody says, oh, lavender, this
so
is
relaxing.
Oh, yes. But it can have the opposite effect too.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people understand this. Mm-hmm. So this is where being educated in aromatherapy, and there's always more to learn. I'm certainly not, the guru of aromatherapy, but I'd like to be. But, it's something that you're continually learning, and there's continuing research coming out, which I think is fantastic as well. Right. So working with me is, I work directly with individuals. I follow them for 2 months, maybe longer, and as needed. It depends on what they need. And we also work with the family members and the care partners because they need it too. I mean, it's all encompassing.
Yeah. So you're in Florida, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm in the Tampa Bay area.
Tampa Bay. So if someone wanted to work with you, they would need to be in that local area.
No.
Oh,
No, they could be anywhere well, as long as they speak English, they could be anywhere because that's my only language. We can work with people in other countries via Zoom because I can teach everything that they need to know. And the aromatherapy side is a little different. I have to handle that differently because it's so individually specialized. But I can get around that too. And there's unlimited support so that it works. So yeah, it can be anywhere. Doesn't matter
Okay.
where
Okay, so I was looking on your website,
they are.
and you do have a shop,
Yes.
but it's not aromatherapy.
Well, no, but it's a shop because I don't sell individual essential oils.
Okay.
And I personally don't sell blends because
Right.
I want each one to be for that person.
So I was intrigued by your shop, though. I mean, I know you work with Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
and your shop makes sense to me, having
Yeah.
had someone pass away from the disease. But like, tell us about your shop.
Well, I make this came actually from the Hertz process because individuals who are in compromised health, whether it be cancer, cancer or Alzheimer's, or a combination of many diseases, the muffs are called sensory muffs. In England, they call them twiddle muffs, fidget muffs, but I hand knit each one. And they're, yeah, you should see me go. They're about an inch thick and they're ample size and they're full of things to play with, fidget things. And I think one of the things I love the most and people seem to really gravitate to is, you may remember Shari Lewis and lamb chops.
Yes.
Each one has about a 6-inch lammy, I call him, that's on a ribbon, and he can be pulled out, and I call it their pet that they don't have to water or feed or walk. And when they're done with him, they just slide him back in. They can keep their hands warm if they're cold. So, it also draws attention because people will say, what have you got there? And give them some attention, which they need. And the touch, the textures, it's really fantastic for them. And I also have play mats that can be put on a table.
I was curious if you made those yourself.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah. The play mats, I even make the binding. Everything is handmade on them.
Amazing. So I'm thinking like not just Alzheimer's or people with, chronic diseases or anything, but like anybody who has a sensory issue or sensory gating problem, that this might be just amazing.
Yeah. And they really are. They're fun. And they can be personalized to someone's life. One lady that I had made one for, she kind of touched me at the end. She said her mom had passed. And she said, but I was going to donate it. She said, but then I thought, I have to keep this because I can smell my mom. I know she had this. She loved this. And I keep it close to me. And I thought that was really, really nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
When somebody who's working with Alzheimer's patients, I mean, this is not just, oh, I think I'll just work with Alzheimer's patients. I mean, this was a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
And obviously you've been inspired because the music therapy, the Hearts process.
Mm-hmm.
Why can I not talk? The Hearts process and the aromatherapy, combining all of that, working with Alzheimer's. I mean, like, who's inspiring to you? Because I can guarantee you somebody's going to hear this and be inspired by you.
Well, I obviously my mom, she was my biggest cheerleader my whole life. A lot of people don't know this, but as a child, at 18 months, I had polio. So I have back problems and I have one leg that is much smaller than the other. It's never stopped me. My parents wouldn't allow it. If I had a problem, they didn't tell me what to do. Or, oh, baby, it was figure it out. And I did. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I went windsurfing in Hawaii. I've done it all. I even played varsity basketball in my sophomore year because I could shoot. So it didn't stop me. But if I hadn't had the encouragement and the pushing from my parents, I wouldn't be where I am today. And they're both gone. And I have to say that my husband is is the one. He is definitely with me. He will encourage me, and he'll also put me back in line when I get off track. And we do that for each other. After 49 years, it'll be 50 on Valentine's Day. I think we're going to
Wow.
stay together.
I think so. Happy anniversary a little bit early.
Yeah.
Amazing. 50 years.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you don't look, I just have to say it. You don't look old enough to have been married for 50 years.
Oh, thank you. I was 20. So figure it
Wow,
out.
Deborah, I had no idea.
Yep. Yep. And we
Wow.
have three kids and 5 grandkids. So it's been a good life.
Amazing. Oh, that's awesome. So what are some of your other passions? I mean, I've found that aromatherapists are kind of like education junkies. We're all kind of a little bit nerdy or geeky, depending on, which area you're from. But like, what are some of your other passions outside of working with Alzheimer's patients and aromatherapy?
Well, again, we like to go to botanical gardens. We were just in Naples to what a beautiful garden they have with a friend. And
Naples, Florida, people.
Yes,
Naples, Florida.
Their botanical garden. Yes. Sorry about that. A big difference.
Wow, you went to Italy. No, Naples, Florida. Yeah.
With a friend, and that was very nice. So we like to do that. And we are in Florida. We go to the parks. We have season passes to Busch and SeaWorld.
Oh, nice.
But Epcot and all of them, we love them. And kind of an oddity, which is probably where I stand out a little. I make our soap from scratch. It's not the melt and pour. It's the real lye kind. I wear goggles and gloves and
wow,
mad scientist, But it is, you have to age it, and it is the best soap ever. It's so smooth and silky, and I generally make it with tea tree and lavender essential oils. And I don't have to look at my supply. My husband tells me when we're running low, and I make 6 pounds at a time.
And isn't it crazy? I mean, like, who was the first person that thought, let me throw some water on these ashes and see if I can scrub myself with them?
Yeah, burn a little. Well, when the kids were little, the grandkids, they said, oh, can we help you make soap? And I said, well, we can make melt and pour. I said, that you can do. I said, but this other kind you can't do, honey. And I said, come here. I found something on the computer, and it showed a chicken leg, and they put lye on it, and it just ate it up. That's all they had to see. They never wanted to go near the lye. They stayed away. Maybe I was scaring them to death, but I kept them safe.
Well, yeah, sometimes fear is a thing. Yes. So I would love to hear a story, if you're willing to share, of how you've helped a patient, a client, or even a caregiver. Like, what's something that really stands out to you that helps you on the days when you're wondering, why do I do this?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of changing your answer a little bit here, but I just made a blend last month that was the best blend I've ever made in my life. I mean, you have good blends and you know which ones they are. They're the ones that are your primo, and it was for pain. And I actually made it for myself, and it was amazing. I mean, I've never had anything work like this thing. This, and my husband has a back problem. He used it. He said the same thing. And I have a sophomore grandson who has played soccer since he was 4 years old, and he hurt his ankle. And I pick him up from high school each day. And he told me his ankle. I said, well, I'll make you a blend and you can try it tomorrow. And so I called him, and I said to him, did the blend work? I said, did it work? And I said, usually it works in about 10 minutes. He said 10 minutes. It was 5 minutes. And he was just so thrilled with this blend. It just shows the power. I mean, sometimes your blends will fall flat. We all have had those. But when you hit big time, and this, man, it's incredible. Those are the things that push you on. You want to do more and more. But as far as working with the Alzheimer's population, it's a little different, because with the heart's process, you typically use an inhaler and let them smell it, but they may not understand that. They can't tell you what's bothering them. A lot of the time you have to figure it out, but you can use aroma patches. And I find those to work beautifully with the process, and putting them on the back on their clothing so they can't get to them, but they can still get the smell. And sometimes it won't always be the best thing for the person with Alzheimer's, depending on what stage they're in, but it can sure help the caregivers and the family members. So,
And, we do forget about the caregivers a lot.
yes.
We're so, especially when you're like the nurse or the doctor, you're so focused on the patient that the caregiver many times gets left behind. And my dog, she's since passed, but she was my service dog, but she was also a therapy dog. And I would take her into the hospice room and just let her decide what to do, because it wasn't always the patient who needed her. Many times it was the caregiver who was sitting there watching their loved one suffer. And so thank you for what you're doing. Just,
I mean, it's very rewarding. It is difficult. It's not for someone who just wants to go in and have everything all hunky-dory, so to speak. I mean, you have to learn how to deal with wherever they are in their journey. But it's very satisfying. And having been there, knowing that I can relieve the people who are taking care of them is a double win. I mean, I was so run down with my mom, I ended up in the hospital. I mean, it was really bad. They thought I'd had a stroke. They kept me there 3 days, and it wasn't. It was just that I had no more to give. It was just gone.
yeah. And unfortunately, we tend to do that to ourselves. And I'm not saying men don't do it, but I think it's more of a female thing where we just give and give and give and give and give until we have nothing left to give.
Exactly. Yeah.
And end up sick.
Yeah. But the good thing is there are ways that I put together that can make that so different for other people. And I mean, I probably sound so bouncy, but inside I'm so excited to know that it works, that it can help other people.
Yeah.
Where I didn't know what to
do. Right. And it's so wonderful to have someone who's been there.
Yeah.
Who knows what you're going through, but also knows a way through.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing for people. How amazing.
Yeah. And each journey is different. I mean,
absolutely
totally different. I mean, it's not, one size fits all, but.
Absolutely. So what are you working on right now that you're really excited about?
Oh, well, I am actually working on, this is brand new for me, but because I'm so passionate about helping these people that are living this life, I'm putting together a training program that will encompass the entire process. And this can be, used by individuals. It can be used by people, aromatherapists. I mean, you name it. If you want to deal with this population, you want to make a difference. So that's what I'm working on. I've just started it. It's not going to be a fast process. But
it's it's a process.
Yeah, I expect it. I hope sometime in 24. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I want to do it right. Wonderful. And I don't want to rush it. I want to make it where it works for everybody and can help people. So Amazing. That's my biggie.
Wow. So the mission of the podcast, of course, is to connect you with the people who need you.
Mm-hmm.
So how can people find what you're doing? How can people get in touch with you? How can people work with you?
Okay. Well, probably the simplest way is to go to my website, which is AromaWellnessTherapy.com. And you visited the website. There's a lot of different areas you can look for. Mm-hmm. And also, if they're interested in the Alzheimer's or other dementias, I mean, I say Alzheimer's because that's the most prominent, but there's over 120 other types. Even Parkinson's is in there. And there is a free PDF. How do you know if it's Alzheimer's? And I'm working on another one of those as well. which I will release hopefully within the next 2 months. So I've got a couple things rolling right now, and that's how I spend my days, working with people and in between doing this stuff. But yeah, that's how they can get in touch with me, and I'd love to hear from anyone that I can help.
Very cool. And I did want to just give a mention to your blog that there's a lot of really great information on there. If you've got somebody in your life with Alzheimer's, just check it out. There's a lot of good stuff there.
Thank you.
So how has plant medicine made a difference in your life specifically? We've been talking about how you help other people, but how has it made a difference for you?
Oh, well, I think it's in many ways it's made a difference for me because, like I said, I always had a love of plants and plant world and trees. But when I discovered aromatherapy, I was able to learn more about them and also started to utilize it in our own lives. I've always believed to do as much naturally as you can, because I think there's definitely room for the medicine, but I also think that it's too often is take this pill, take that pill. And a lot of the people I deal with have even my mom did too, a suitcase of pills. And it's almost like they brag about all these pills. And it's like, oh my gosh. And so we are very minimal in anything that we have to take medicine-wise. And I have found that working, for our family and our friends and now helping the Alzheimer's world because they're different, but they're not different. They too have problems. And you can eliminate a lot of the medications that can cause more problems than they're solving.
Wow. So as we come down to the end of our time together, I always like to just hand the floor over to my guest. Is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with? Do you feel like I missed anything? Now would be the time to just share whatever's on your heart.
No, I think just know that there's help. If you have someone in need, the earlier you find out that there is a problem, the more that we can do to keep everything as minimal. If I have time, there's something called sundowning. I don't know. Okay. Okay.
Please share. Yes, please.
Okay. Sundowning is something that I did not know about when my mom, she was actually in the hospital with kidney disease. And I was there, it was about supper time. And we were just talking and I heard this lady start screaming and carrying on. I said, what's going on? And she said, oh, she's a sundowner. And I was like, what's a sundowner? I didn't know, So she told me. And using this program can help sundowning so much because some of them will sundown at any time, but most of them, that's why they call it sundowning, is, like dusk dinner time. You can use the aromatherapy for calming. You can use the aromatherapy if they've gotten past that point where they're agitated. The music will calm them, and you can start this before they enter that stage because it's generally kind of on the same kind of schedule. And then, you can help the people caring for them because when someone's screaming around you, you kind of get a little uptight. So the heart's process can help calm the family or the caregivers. And I think that's really important. You just have to catch it early.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Debrah.
Welcome.
I have really enjoyed speaking with you. It's good to catch up. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes.
And just thank you so much for what you're doing in the world. I mean, this is a major, I was just reading some research articles recently about memory issues and the monetary expectation over the next 10 years is
through the roof.
Through the roof. It's just crazy. So what you're doing right now, helping people just manage it better, manage it.
It's not, you're not going to cure them, but you can make their life better.
Gosh, make their life better. And isn't that what our aromatherapy is all about? Just bringing peace, joy into somebody's life, even even somebody who is suffering greatly from a disease like Alzheimer's. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And the thing that I actually have on my desk, I want to get it right. We rise by lifting others. And I think that is so perfect. And the other one is where words fail, music speaks. And I keep looking at these things because they hit what I do. And I think that is just incredible. That, yeah, I like quotes. I have lots of quotes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, and keep doing what you're doing.
Debrah said something early on in our time together that got me thinking. When she asked about participating in the music and memory course, she was dismissed. But her passion won the day. When she shared with the director of the program about the people she wanted to help, the ones who get overlooked, he could hear her passion and invited her into the program. I hope you take Debrah's lead the next time someone tells you no. No does not always mean no. It can mean not right now, or it can mean, like in Debrah's case, I need more information before I can make a decision. Realizing that no doesn't necessarily mean a closed door can open up pathways for so much in your life. The next time you hear the word no, consider what else this little 2-letter word might mean, and then let that inform how you move forward. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Debrah Nadler. According to the Alzheimer's Association, the cost of health care and long-term care for individuals living with Alzheimer's or other dementias in 2023 is a whopping $345 billion, not including the value of unpaid caregiving, those people who are at home caring for their family members with Alzheimer's. Taking on this population and offering this trifecta of comfort care is just amazing. If you know someone living with Alzheimer's or who is caring for a loved one with the disease, I encourage you to share this episode with them. I will include all of the links mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and I'm your host, Melissa, Master Transformational Coach, Registered Aromatherapist, and Certified Emotion Code Practitioner. I invite you to connect with me on the web at lemonbalmcoaching.com and Instagram at lemonbalmcoaching. I will see you next time with our next episode. Until then, peace, love, and aromatics.